UTRGV, South Texas College,
Present.
TSCC, Delta Lake, Willacy County, Mr. Ronald Mills,
Here.
Jim Darling,
Present.
Tony Chavez,
Present.
Miss Ann Cass,
Present.
and Miss Lupita Martinez. We have quorum.
All right, wonderful. If we could all please stand as Mr. Cruz leads us in our invocation.
This conference will now be recorded.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we begin this meeting by giving you thanks for the opportunity to gather here today. Merciful God, you remind us in your words that you're always with us and will never leave us. You are the place where we can find refuge, comfort, and peace. Open our ears so we can hear your voice and our hearts to receive your word. Guide us during our discussions here today as we conduct business that will affect the citizens of the rural Grand Valley. Give us the clarity of mind to act in their best interest and not ours. We pray that this meeting is successful, productive, and blessed. Almighty God, we give you the glory for what we accomplish. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving right along to item 2, consideration and action to approve the March 26, 2025 meeting minutes. Are there any amendments to the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve as is? Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, public comment. All right, this time we'll close public comment. Moving on to item 4, administration. Manny?
Yes, ma'am. Under administration, we have an action item. First action item would be to consideration and action to set date and format for the 2025 nominating committee. For this particular item, it's May is board elections, this board elections. And so at the beginning of the month, we must have the nominating committee. And so the nominating committee includes all general membership and board of directors. So we can have it in person or virtually. And so that will cover a few things. When we meet, we will be covering the members at large. If you recall, there is 10 members at large in total. Out of those 10, 5 members are appointed by the general membership, and then the other 5 by the board of directors. And then out of those 10, 3 will be presented at the next month's meeting, end of the month, to sit on the board of directors representing the at-large members. And in addition to that, we'll be discussing and recommending the new or the recommended officers of the executive committee for the 2025-26 term. And so that constitutes our agenda for that particular meeting. And again, we typically have it around the second week of May. And then following that, we will have the different groups, such as the small cities, the medium cities, the special government units, the school districts and public education institutions, and the grassroots organizations will meet again within the first of the month to elect who is going to be representing each of the groups. And within each of the groups, for example, small cities, if you have 13, 14, maybe almost 20, out of those, 3 will be selected by that group and nominated to sit in this board. The medium cities have 2 slots. I think there's like 6, 7 of medium cities, and all this is based on population. 2 members are appointed to sit on the board. And then out of the special government units, 2 are selected to represent that group. And then the school districts and public education institutions, we have 2 that will come, that will represent higher institutions, or actually the public education institutions on the board of directors. So for right now, the action item would be to select the date and format of the nominating committee to review the members at large and the elected officials that will sit on executive committee.
And do you have a proposed date?
I do have, for your consideration, possibly the Monday, May the 5th in the morning. And again, that could be virtually. I think last time, unfortunately, we're not at the island this year, so like last time, so it can be done, virtually or in person, or both.
So can we do it tentatively for the 5th, and then you can poll the board? Because not everybody's here.
And I will add, there's no quorum required for that meeting, so there's no need to worry about that as long as we get enough representation. Again, it's a combination of the general membership and board of directors.
And we'll have the Zoom option available.
Correct. Yeah, we can do that. That we could get max participation.
Okay.
So the
Tuesday.
on Tuesday, I'll be that week. I'll be attending a important conference in New Mexico.
Maybe we can move it a week then.
We do have the other option of, if we couldn't do it that week, maybe May the 12th in the morning sometime. But I think that would probably be the latest that we can do it.
Okay.
Is that for the nominating committee?
Yes.
Correct.
Do you need a motion for that?
Well, I need the date and time.
The date that,
Yes.
you need a motion?
And we can have, other than the 6th, because I'm going to be flying out, so I can't log in, but the 7th, 8th, or 9th is an option as well. And I can take it via Zoom, if that's more convenient for everybody and those that week.
So it would be the first week.
So the 12th, could we propose the 12th, if that's okay with everybody's calendar, but instead of the morning, do a late afternoon? There's some ceremonial stuff that happens on that day with some cities. Even if it's via Zoom, or 8:30?
On the 12th? Is everybody okay with the 12th on May the,
Mayor?
at 8?
Oh, you too?
What about a week from now, May 7th? It's exactly 1 week from
staying up
today, virtual.
So it's just John? It's just you?
It's a Wednesday,
Okay.
it's not a Monday, it's not a Friday.
Yeah, this is hard to get everybody. Let's do a and so May 5th, Mayor, you have the whole day that is booked? Yes, okay.
But May 7th works at 8:30.
Are you also looking to get those committee members to sign today as well? I
Well,
mean,
no,
only-
it's all the membership, the general membership and board of directors. There's no quorum required as long as whoever is available can attend. But obviously, we need max participation to make sure that
So
we're
everyone
transparent.
will be invited to. be part of
Correct.
the committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's do May 7th. Are you here? Are you back?
I'll be in New Mexico, but I can take it virtually. Don't worry about me, or Mr. Dominguez can lead the group.
Okay.
We will be here, it's
Okay.
just like he won't be here in person.
I only have one calendar here in front of me, so I might have, but Zoom makes it easy for me. So May 7th is a Wednesday and in the morning, Mayor? And can we
8:30?
do 8:30?
Is everybody okay with 8:30?
Well, let's just, let's schedule it, and those that can participate, then that'd be great. And John, you'll be here, right? Okay. Yeah, I think it's important that you're in the country. Or you might be able to zoom in out of the country. Okay, May 7th.
And we'll send out a meeting invite with the link this week, before the end of the week.
And again, we'll make the exception for the Zoom participation just to accommodate everybody's schedules. All right, can we get a motion to schedule for the 7th?
Motion made.
Okay, second, by Sullivan City. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is a presentation and action on, to accept the quarterly investment report. Ms. Crystal Balboa, our Finance Director, will present.
Good afternoon. The first quarter investment report was provided for your review. If there's no questions, it needs board approval.
All right. Is there any questions for Ms. Balboa? Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Okay. You want me to-
Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, she did have an update, just as you know, with the current administration, there's things changing every day. And so Crystal has just a brief update
Yeah, I
on
just
financial
wanted
matters.
to point out that there was a mild decrease from the fourth quarter to the third quarter. It just went down 0.13. But the same time last year, it went down a whole 1 basis point.
The interest rates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, we have a presentation, Economic Development Strategy and Diversification Study presentation. We have representatives from the GLO. Ms. Shonda Mays should be online, and Mr. Elijah Casas is right here with us to present.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Shauna Mace. I'm the Manager of Research Studies and Development, otherwise known as Planning Studies, for the Community Development and Revitalization Division. And I want to preface this with, I was not the project manager, so thankfully I only have 5 minutes. So I probably may not be able to answer any questions immediately, but I will gladly, after the presentation, throw my email into the chat so that if anybody does have questions, feel free to send me an email, give me time to research and look into it and get back to you. Okay, so with that, like I said, I only have 5 minutes, so there's 16 slides. I'm not going to read all the text on the slides, but they should be made available to you guys to dive a little bit deeper in. So please get started. Are y'all hearing me okay, I hope?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great, thank you. So the background, the purpose of the study was consisted of Cameron, Hidalgo, and Mullica counties. We utilized mitigation funding for this, or no, maybe it was 2019 floods, excuse me. It was a 15-month project conducted in HUD-designated eligible counties that were severely impacted by 2019 floods. There it is right there. Approximately 38.32% of the study lies within a floodplain with 1% chance of annual flooding. So these are some key issues that the study covered, and I just want to mention that across all the phases that I'll get into next, stakeholder outreach was ongoing for the entire study. So phase 1 consisted of research and inventory development. There were 8 different areas listed here that research was conducted in, and a study area site visit was included, as well as an asset mapping survey. This took place from September 2022 to March 2023 for this first phase. Phase 2 was to create an economic diversification strategy for the region. And during this phase, strategies and goals were drafted and refined with stakeholder input. And also during this phase, key stakeholder interviews were held and virtual strategy review sessions for each goal area were developed. And a stakeholder survey was conducted to gather inputs. And you can see the dates for this phase was from March 2023 through August of 2023. Phase 3 was the development of an action plan that included draft strategies under the 5 goal areas, both virtual and in-person review sessions with influencers. And the strategies were updated based on input, and after that, the action plan was finalized. And that was, again, from March of 2023 to August of 2023. Okay, so the approach and methodology, I'm not going to get into all of this here. It's a lot of words, but y'all can look at it. But you can see, some stats here that there was 405 stakeholders. There was a total of 61 meetings. There were 42 survey responses, and the study time took a little over 15 months totally. And you can see here broad representation of project audiences and all the additional types of stakeholders that were included are listed there on the bullet points on the right-hand side. So the vision statement and goals, you can see the vision statement here on the left that the LRGV will be known as a collaborative region marked by increasing resilience with a sustainable economy that benefits all communities and individuals. And then the 5 different goals that I previously mentioned are listed here on the right. So you have organizational capacity, transportation and infrastructure, housing, economic development and diversification, and quality of life and community resilience. So goal number 1 was organizational capacity, and that included strengthening organizational capacity and regional partnerships that enhance resilience to flooding and economic disruptions while expanding market access. And there are a couple of strategies listed here that y'all can read, and those were obviously feeding towards the first goal. Goal number 2, transportation and infrastructure, was to promote the growth of the region through strategic transportation and infrastructure projects that build on the region's unique assets and competitive strengths. And then there's 6 different strategies listed here to fulfill that goal. Goal number 3 was housing, to encourage housing investment to support workforce growth, affordability, and flood risk mitigation, with a total of 5 strategies for this goal. Goal number 4, economic development and diversification, was to foster regional resilience through economic inclusion and diversification to provide additional stability during downturns, with a number of strategies for this goal. And finally, goal number 5, quality of life and community resilience. Encourage quality of life improvements through community enhancements and environmental protection to attract families to visit and reside within the region, with 5 strategies supporting this goal. So the final report is pretty lengthy. It is called the Economic Development Strategy and Diversification Study. It is on our website, which will be on the next slide. But there is also a summary report that is also really well, and it's much shorter, but it's an excellent report. You can see there's lots of pictures and tables and stats to help you get through it. So it's a really great report. And to supplement the report on the next slide. Okay, there's also 5 short videos in English and Spanish that provide a snapshot of the report. You can see there that is our website where the entire page for the economic development study resides. There's a lot more than just the final report in these videos, but these are kind of the into that study, and I'm happy to report that our own Elijah Casas, who is with you guys today, is the narrator for these videos. They're really great. I highly recommend going and watching them. They're not very long. And that concludes my presentation. So thank you guys. It was a really great study. A lot of really great things came out of it. And I hope that it benefits you guys. And like I said, I'm going to throw my work email in the chat. So if anybody has questions or would like more information, or if there's anything I can answer, please feel free to shoot me an email, and I'm happy to get back with you with whatever you need.
All right. Well, good afternoon, members of the board. Madam President, thank you all for having the General Land Office here this afternoon. Elijah Casas for the record, Intergovernmental Relations. Shonda, thank you so much for that presentation. Again, it was a 15-month effort, a lot of collaboration amongst our community, everything from business partners, community members, nonprofits. We really wanted to delve into different aspects of what makes our region so unique, especially with the rapid growth that we are currently undergoing and the future that we're walking into. Overall, we want the region to be better prepared for the future, bounce back faster from disasters, and have a good and general idea of where we want to go together. So we do hope that this is very beneficial to our region. I know we sent Manny the link, and you can also expect an email at your city halls or your personal emails later before the end of the week. That way you guys can go ahead and take a peek at that. It's a very valuable resource, and if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you to GLO for the presentation. I have to admit it's a great tool. Again, just another tool in your toolbox, so to be utilized, and especially when it comes to grant funding, you have the data at your fingertips to access. Moving on to item 4B, Executive Director's Report, just introduction of new staff. We had 2 members join the team, one under our RGV 901 district, Mr. Juan Chapa as Program Supervisor, IT, and then under Valley Metro, we had Mr. Alberto Lopez, Valley Vehicle Driver 2. Other item that I have to report, obviously the legislature is ongoing. I do want to, thank all of you, our elected officials. I know not just this month, but throughout the year. But I saw it more so this past month, since the legislature started. Your activities, you've been very active on representing the Valley. I've seen a couple of online videos and live streams from some of you all that presented on behalf of the region for different topics. Most recently was our president presented on the disaster that occurred within the region and obviously the city of Harlingen. But I want to thank you for putting us high and representing the Valley. It needs to be known, and so just wanted to again thank send that message to you that it's much appreciated that you're pretty much elevating the region to a higher level. And your interactions and representation speaks volumes when it comes to being a elected official and for the Lower Grand Valley. So thank you so much for that. Other updates, I'll leave it up to staff on these other topics, but Ms. Margarita Lopez and Mr. Tom Logan will have some updates when they come up in relation to the current impacts that the current administration is what's happening currently related to not necessarily just services, but funding impacts that are taking place. And so obviously after their presentation, and Mr. Lopez provided a slide of the presentation, copies on your desk, but there are some strategies that we're looking at once we get further in the year, probably around May, maybe June timeframe. If we see that nothing has changed, then between now and then, obviously we'll be working through our national associations as well as our state associations to try to get a grasp of what's going on, and they will be in the forefront leading the efforts in trying to provide whatever information is necessary to the administration so they can reconsider some of the funding decisions that are being made or lack of with some departments or programs that are obviously very useful to the regions, not necessarily just the Lower Grande Valley Development Council, but the state of Texas and nationwide. And so, for those of you that might not know, regional planning commissions exist throughout the whole entire United States. So if one program is removed or impacted, it's going to affect the entire nation, more so our population here in the Rio Grande Valley. And so with that, we can move on to the programs and actually wait for Ms. Lopez and Mr. Logan to provide that much needed update on the current situation. But before they do, the next item would be department reports. Item A, Community and Economic Development, Ms. Melissa Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have no agenda items today, just a couple of announcements. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for participating in our Road to Recycling event that was held last week. It's still going on. We still have tires being collected, and so I don't have numbers for you, which I'm excited about not being able to have numbers, because it means we're going to get greater numbers. So I want to thank everybody. We did have 30 entities participate with our Road to Recycling this year, and hopefully by the next meeting, I will have all the data that was collected, how many tires were collected, and how many were appropriately recycled and did not make our landfill. That's our total goal for this year. The other announcement I have is we do have a Region M meeting scheduled for May 7th at 9:30 in the morning. It will be hybrid. And then we also have our public hearing scheduled for Region M. It's going to be scheduled May 22nd at 2 p.m. here at the King Jones, but is also going to have a hybrid capacity. So if you can't make it, please log in for the Region M public hearing. And this is for the new updates for the Region M plan. And then the final thing I just want to announce is that my coworker and I, Mr. Dominguez, went to present our Clean Cities Coalition apprenticeship at the Schwana Conference last week, which is the Solid Waste Association for North America. We presented our apprenticeship with the 4 current Clean City Coalitions of Texas, and I was very, very proud to be part that our cohorts out of Texas took us under a wing and allowed us to help to present our project with them. The only thing I'm going to tell you is that with all the changes coming, we may not be able to fulfill our full designation, but at this moment, DOE is telling us just keep moving forward. So that's what we're doing. So I just wanted to share that with you. I will have some pictures in our presentation next month, but it was a really, really nice opportunity to meet with all of the Clean Cities Coalitions from Texas and all the amazing work that they're doing to keep our atmosphere clean. So. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions on the report that we submitted? No? All right. Thank you so much.
Great work, Ms. Gonzalez. Thank you.
Next up is item B, Health and Human Services, Ms. Lopez.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I do have 2 action items for your consideration, followed by a critical funding and program update that may be impacting our operations as we move forward. We'll begin with our action items. Action number 1, the Citizen Advisory Council is requesting consideration and action to approve the contractor solicitation timeline for the fiscal year from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th of 2026. These services will be funded under Title III of the Older American Acts as amended and state general revenue funds. And the timeline is on the monitors.
Okay, and this is an action item. Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The second action for your consideration is the Citizen Advisory Council is requesting consideration and action to approve the timeline for the request for proposals, or better known as RFP, to solicit operating plans for services for the fiscal year from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th of 2026. This action refers to services provided through our subrecipients and funded under Title III of the Older American Act as amended and state general revenues.
Do you have a motion?
Motion made.
Okay, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And as you may have already seen, we did submit our second quarterly report for your review. Does anyone have any questions on the quarterly report? Okay, thank you for that. Now, with those actions presented to you, I'd now like to shift to an important update on the broader funding environment. Now, we have two sections. I will start with an overview of the ongoing funding situation at a state level and how it has shaped our planning, how it impacted our service delivery, and the response that we had here at the LRGVDC for the fiscal year 2025. So again, this is state level.
For members, you have it on your desk. It looks something like this. So it's the same slide that's on the screen, so you can follow along and take with you.
I think they're going to have a little bit more detailed information in their packets for their review later on than what we're presenting on the screen. But I would like to take your attention to the screen. It has a full timeline of the events, how everything started. So at a state level, the Office of AAA informed us that unfortunately they were not able to match the entire budget for 2025. They will not be able to fund the match for 24 and 23 for carryover money. So with all that said, they instructed us to just plan for 80% of the 100% budget that we had gotten approved. So in September, when we went to TARC, that's when they went ahead and during our meetings, they related that they would not be able to give us 100%. However, back later after September, I want to say October, November, they came back and they said, yes, they would be able to provide the remaining 20% for 2025. Well, with all that said, we went ahead and we proceeded with cautious, right? And so we provided services, and once we reached the 80% of that budget on allocations and vendor contractor services, sub-recipients, we only continued providing services that did not require contracted services to avoid us going into an overage, okay? Now, on April 25th, a couple of things have happened. They had a meeting, they came back, Office of AAA, and they said that it was final. We would only get 80% of 2025. Give me a second. Okay, so like I mentioned before, when we got the initial notification that we will only get 80% for 2025, we immediately reviewed our budget, we adjusted our numbers, and we only allowed 80% of our fundings to be allocated and to be spent. Within that 80%, when we revised, we also made sure that we would be able to cover the salaries to end the contract year for 2025. Because if they came back and provided any additional carryover funds, or even came back and said, hey, we have the match, we're going to give you the other 20%, we wanted to make sure that we had the employees to carry out and use those dollars. So now the last and final directive that we received was that it is 80%. However, should the state receive the notice of award for that 20%, they will come back and assign those to us. But as for today, we're only to be using 80% of 2025. However, they did come back and say that we will be receiving carryover fundings for 2024. That would not be the 100% of whatever we had to carry over. That would only be at a 75%. With all that said, I am happy to say, I'm very proud of the way we proceeded with cautious and how we plan things, because we do have the manpower to utilize that 75% of 2024 carryover funds, because that's going to only be used for services. Those funds are not to be used for admin or anything else. Now, the thing about those funds, that carryover of 2024, is that we're not getting those for every single service that we provide. We're only going to get some carryover money. So there will be services that we may reinstate, and there will be services that we will not be able to provide. It's all subjected to which funds we are able to obtain from that 2024 budget. However, we do anticipate that we can, and it's solid that we can sustain the salaries until the end of the fiscal year, which will be September 30th of 2025, and we'll continue to move responsibly and being careful on how we use these funds, because we don't want to end up in a situation that you may have heard other AAAs have had to already place their staff on part-time and even let go of some of their staff. So until September 30th of 2025, we're solid with salaries, and we will continue providing services accordingly. Questions?
Margarita,
Yes, ma'am.
the amount that you may get back from the state, will you know that before the end of September 2025 rolls around?
So for 2025, it's only 80. That 20%, we should be able to get notification on that later.
Prior to the end?
Prior to the end, yes. We're not planning on receiving that money. However, what we do have is several, because we continue to establish a wait list, right? We continue to provide intakes. We continue to place people on wait lists. We continue to make referrals. What we're not doing is, for example, residential repairs or modifications, because that involves contracting people, and we don't know if we're going to get that money. But what we do have in place is several special initiative projects. Should we get these funds, we can execute these projects and utilize those funds.
So if those 20%, those are allocated instead to the state, and then they can decide to give them back to you, what do you need from this board in terms of advocacy through our delegation to ensure that that happens?
So at this point, it's just remaining informed, and also if you have the platform to bring the urgency of those funds to the table, that would be greatly appreciated. And as I move forward, I will appoint you to how much we have used of those funds, and the impact that it has in our region. Because unfortunately, unless they receive these monies, we won't be able to do anything about that.
Impact overview here. This talks about 2026 proposals. And we just approved actions to negotiate contracts for contracts that run through 9/30/2026. How can we do contracts when we don't think there's going to be funding, possibly no funding in these areas?
That's a great question. And so what you have pointed out, which I will address ahead, is specifically on the federal impact should that budget as presented get approved. However, we have a great responsibility right now to carry out what needs to be carried out throughout the contract year. Now, that timeline is specifically that, and the contract has a note specifically regarding these contracts will be available, they will be executed, they will be honored, they are subjected to the federal funds being available. And so if we don't present these, then we are out of compliance with this year's contract and our obligations managing the funds that we do get for AAA. So we have to present them. The other thing is that should the budget as presented at the federal level not get approved, we still need those contracts to run in October. And that's why we're presenting them down.
And then a proactive approach that we're taking is to keep track on current expenditures and to ensure that the contractors submit the most latest up-to-date reimbursement requests so we can submit it to the state. So we can keep up to date. Should they cut us off tomorrow, we won't have any outstanding balances in the books that we owe contractors.
And as for right now, on that same note that Mr. Cruz has mentioned, as for right now, we have $61,004.77 outstanding, just waiting for vendor contractors to submit their billing. And then we have with our subrecipients, $1,570,116 that we're still pending to pay, but we do have the funds to honor those. As Mr. Cruz mentioned, what we did was we placed a pause on services so that we would avoid overspending and being on the negative. Any questions on that? Now that's at the state level. Okay? Alrighty, so as we shift, if you can change, and you see, now you can really refer to your packets. As we shift to the federal landscape, I want to highlight key elements of the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget that will significantly impact our AAA and our ADRC services. Throughout my report, I will point out that it is not a significant impact only on AAA and ADRC services. On the greater scheme of things is an impact on services provided to the older community, regardless of who is providing those services. Okay, so on your package, you're going to have a summary of the fiscal year 2026 proposed impact, an overview of funding sources for AAA and ADRC services, a detailed list matching each service provided to its respective funding source. I provided this for you so that you, on your time, throughout the services you provide, can follow those services, Title 3B, 3C, so that hopefully you can see where they're going. That's where the greater scheme of things go in. While AAA and ADRC may be losing the ability to provide the services, by following those funding sources, you'll be able to know where the funding is going. Okay? You will also see some charts showing amounts spent in the region, assisting individuals, and the number of individuals that we served from 2020 through 2024, showing the need in the region. And also an impact overview outlining which programs may be eliminated or reassigned to other agencies. The key points are the major realignment is proposed under CMS, AACF, and ASPE. What that means is that if AAA and ADRC are not managing these services, those will be the entities to do so. Okay, so next slide, please.
Just real quick, Margarita,
Yes.
we noticed that what you're presenting is not in here.
No.
So just make sure you update the board members so they can, because they're,
They're looking for
shifting
the
to-
exact
yeah.
word, okay.
Specifically, if we can get provided this, what was up there in terms of the summary.
It's just a simpler summary than what you all have. So what I'll do
Right.
is I'll raise mine so that you know specifically where we're going. This right here is just an explanation of the services that we currently provide. And you would have those services on the handout that says departments and matching funding sources. this one right here, that shows those services and it matches them to which funding source. And then prior to this page, what you have is the funding sources for each of those by specific official title. Title 3B, Title 3E, Title 3C1, that's what you would have in your packets, which are these right here, right? Okay, so you have that. Alrighty, so what you have on the monitors, and you also have it on your packets, is the total amount spent and the total consumers served. So in 2020, you can see we spent $6,234,000. During that time, there was additional funding. We had the coronavirus aid, the relief and economic security, so we had the CARES Act. 2021, we spent $8 million, over $8 million. 2022, again, over $8 million. 2023, there was a drop there. You see $7 million, but of course, we had already lost most of the additional supplemental fundings due to the virus. However, 2024, we picked it up again. We spent almost $9 million. And for 2025 and counting, we have already spent over $4 million. And of course, on the total consumers, you see that the numbers are consistent as well. Now, definitely a need for the region. This is important because you already have the list of the fundings. We already know that most of these fundings are not going to be under AAA nor ADRC. It's important that we follow the funding. It's important that we know which entities are getting those funds so that we know where to redirect our aging community. Another important aspect of the entities that if the budget as it is gets approved, they don't specifically or necessarily know exactly how to use these funds, who to help with these funds, and people don't know where to go for these funds. And so we remain confident that we'll be able to help and assist whoever gets those funds, right? Because they may not know where is the population, how many are they, how do we reach them, what kind of outreach activities we have in place. And so we're here, no matter what happens, to assist whoever gets those funds, because at the end of the day, the important thing is that the older population receives the services that they need. Now, you also have an impact overview, this one right here. This one is a little brutal. You want to go to the next one? Okay. This one speaks specifically about our AAA. Now, if the budget gets approved as it is, now remember, it may be declined, it may be approved as it is, it may be dismantled in a whole different, direction. However, this one speaks about us. So our case management team is at risk because the Title 3B supportive services and caregiver support services, that's being realigned. So AAA would not get those funds. However, that's because ACL is being dismantled. But if CMS gets those, or ASPE or whoever may get those funds, they're the ones in charge of making sure that these services continue. So right now, we're just going to say that those are at risk because regardless of us providing the service, the funds will be there and someone will have them. That's for everything we do under case management. Our benefit counseling team, that will be eliminated. So HICAP, Health Insurance Counseling, as well as the MIPA, Medicare Improvements for Patients and Providers Act, those counseling services are targeted to be eliminated. So the benefit counseling team will no longer be here. For the CTI team, those are the ones that are at the hospitals, helping our individuals with things they need, prescription medication, transportation, home modifications to avoid that they're rehospitalized within 30 days. Those are paid under Title III-D. Those services will be eliminated as well. The BRI team, those are supportive services for our caregivers. Those are at risk. The IRNA team, they provide information and referral assistance. Those are at risk. Again, at risk means funds are being moved to someone else, and they're at risk because they depend on how those funds will be managed. The ombudsman team, those are under Title VII, and those will be eliminated as well. And those are the team that we currently have here assisting in the living facilities, managing those situations and reports or of abuse or neglect. So that entire team will be eliminated. For the nutrition program team, those are Title III-C. For congregate meals, it's C1, C2 for home delivered meals. The nutrition services incentive, that NSIP, those will all continue. However, they will not continue under a AAA nor ADRC. Those are also being realigned, possibly under Head Start or one of those. But they continue, which is a good thing, right? That's why we have to follow those services, follow those funds. Now, when it comes to the senior centers, those are also at risk. Those are paid with Title III-B. They're at risk because we don't know how the new managers will act upon those. And then as far as ADRC, all of the services under ADRC are targeted to be eliminated. That includes our housing navigator, promoting independence, our local contact agency services, MIPA for individuals with disability below 60, and the respite services under ADRC will also be eliminated. So if the budget gets approved as it is, our AAA and our ADRC services will be terminated. We do foresee carrying out our contracts until the end of the fiscal year 2025, and we'll be waiting to see what happens with this budget. We will keep you updated, and we will continue to work together to proceed cautiously to make sure we have a clean closure. And if we do get the services again, we'll continue to run with them.
I have a question. So,
Yes.
Margarita, I know that what you can do is really limited because it'll be up to Congress and what they're going to approve. But have you shared this document with congressional members? Because I think this is very telling about what's going to get cut, right? And so I think it's important for them to know that if you don't fund the budget and under these particular titles, these are the people in your district that are going to suffer. So has that been conveyed?
Okay, so I prepared this specifically for you in this format. However, we have been working closely with US Aging. We have been sending them the data, different format, but same data. We have participated in all surveys, all questionnaires, because they are representing us at that level. And we're also working with the Silver Hair Legislature and giving them all of this data. However, I'll make sure to share it in this format. Yes.
Yes, we have, I've had brief discussions with their chief of staff. And so obviously this information came about, and I forwarded the USA Aging email that was intercepted, was leaked out on the current budget for the next 2026 year, that pretty much all the services under AAA are non-existent in that budget. And so, as you all know, that's subject to change. The more people get wind of what's going on, maybe they can, change the minds of the powers that be. But we are, it was asked earlier, what can you all do for us so that we can continue or at least get funded? That's going to be coming up currently, like Margarita said. We're working with our national associations such as USA Aging, our state association TART. so that they can communicate directly, and also the NATO, National Association of Development Organizations. They are headquartered in Washington, and so they're the eyes and ears for us to see what's going on. And so they'll be the ones initially right now who are spearheading all these efforts to identify, make them aware that all these services might be eliminated, and so they need to put them back on. Here in the next few months, we'll be contacting our local representatives and you all to provide you with further guidance and samples of either resolution or letters of support that you all can initiate as overall the Council of Governments, so that we can submit that to our representatives as well. So then, and obviously with this information, that obviously, as you know, you can see, it's a huge impact, might be a huge impact if we don't get the fundings under AAA.
One thing I think what might be beneficial is using this platform, since we have such a large membership, if there can be a letter of support that all of the cities can sign off on, so that way I'm a big proponent of stronger, we're together instead of individually putting on each individual here, all stakeholders from municipal governments to the higher ed. I think it's important because our demographic is hit really hard, and how better to share that than a letter of support from the entire membership, so that way our voice is heard, and we can share that within our own delegations and then also through the COG. Can we put something
Yes,
together?
it's in the works. That's what we're doing to make sure that's addressed. Perhaps in the next board meeting, we'll have the draft so it can formally be approved, passed by this board, and get those signatures, be ready for anything.
What I find really powerful sometimes too is actual real stories of individuals and families, because I think in Congress, they look at this and they say, okay, this is eliminated, and we're doing all these cuts and we're saving money. But when we talk about how it impacts families within our communities and the people that you serve, I think having just a few, I think would be helpful.
Definitely.
Yeah, and also just the numbers that are impacted, right? Because these are programs that are impacted, but they're going to flow down to individuals. So if you say, 12,000 people will be impacted by the loss of this particular program, or 20, I bet altogether it's a huge number when you're looking at all the different programs that are being eliminated.
Yeah, when you're looking at things like elder abuse prevention, these are essentials. And
It's a big one.
I think, like Mayor mentioned, this is some of the few opportunities for this demographic to really even have any kind of oversight or meals and things of that nature.
Well, some of the things that you can also do is when you're planning your city budgets, we already know that we're facing some possible significant cuts. Just keep the older population in mind. We have all the data. That's the one thing we do. We keep track of our individuals. We keep that wait list so that we know who, and we can show that there are some individuals out there who needs assistance. We keep those by city. So if you need that information for your particular city, we're more than happy to give that to you. Also, if at the end of the day, because we still have a fighting chance, if at the end of the day this takes effect, keep us in mind, because if, for example, the nutrition services go to Head Start, well, we have Head Start here in the Valley in several places, then you might want to activate a consulting meeting, a team meeting, where we can provide information on how to immediately jump on board to use those services, how to direct people to obtain those, because sometimes the entities don't know what to do with that money. I worked for Early Head Start before I came here, and I'll never forget, the board of directors, there was not one single elected official. And I used to always come and talk about what was happening here in Hidalgo County, because my Head Start was in Hidalgo County. But right now, that's what comes to my mind. If those Head Starts get that money, would they really know what to do with it? But I think you would know who gets that money. And so we're here. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure that our older population gets the services they need. So,
Thank you
any other
for-
questions?
Was there a question? No. I think all of the mayors are going to start working on their budgets really soon here. So if there is an ask or there is a way for the city not to fill the gap, but to at least assist, I think it's important to already share that information and how it would impact and like Veronica mentioned, the numbers in our communities individually. So that way we have that in the process, because, you know, even though it's still a few months down the road, we get started like now. So the sooner that we can get that information, the better. This is very eye-opening, and I think people outside of this room need to see this. We all care, but what you know, there's only so much that we can do individually within our municipalities. But if we can make sure that's a priority for the letter of support for the membership.
Okay.
How about the people receiving those services? Have they been notified that these services might be in jeopardy?
Yes, because when we are processing the intakes, we're letting them know, number one, at the state level, why services were paused. And number two, that we are at risk and we don't know when we would be able to do so, reinstate them, and if we would even be able to do so. But it is creating a lot of chaos and a lot of
stress.
Yeah, concerns, and it is definitely a big one. But we are being transparent. We have also been transparent on that same note with our employees. We had a meeting on Friday. We clarified concerns, and we advised on what was the game plan, right? Because regardless of what, we will complete the contract through September 30th. We want a clean process. We want to leave the door open for other funding. And so we did relate, we did clarify questions. It's a 50-50 chance, but we're fighting, right? We can't tell them what to do, to stay or to leave, but we are here to support them in whatever they decide to do. So we have been transparent with everyone. We have shared the game plan, and we'll continue to be strong and working as cautious as we can, but we are being transparent with everyone.
Appreciate your transparency.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margarita. We
Thank you.
appreciate, I know this went a little bit longer, but it's important, but we do need to start moving down we got a lot of action items. We appreciate you. Please keep
Thank you.
us informed along the way, because this is important and we're here to support you.
And we'll generate the reports and make them, get them on the way to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is under Public Safety, Criminal Justice, and Homeland Security. And please note that if you choose to, it's okay to take all these action items at once. It's a continuing, application process every year. And so unless you have any specific questions on anything, on any of the attachments or score or ranking sheets, then we'll be happy to answer that.
Thank you, sir. You stole my thunder. Yes, thank you, sir, Madam President and Board of Directors. As a matter for Criminal Justice, Homeland Security, if it is approved with the board, I can get through all 5 and then one mass approval. Item 1, consider an action to approve Criminal Justice Advisory Committee CJAG recommendation for the FY 25-26 Edward Byron Memorial Justice Assistance Program, also known as JAG, program rankings and resolution. Item 2, consideration and action to approve the CJAG recommendation for that is a typo on that one, but it will be the 25-26 Juvenile Justice Program, also known as the SF, program rankings and resolution. Item 3, consideration and action to approve the CJAG recommendations for the 25-26 Truancy Prevention Grant Program, rankings and resolution. Item 4, consideration and action to approve the 25-26 Victim Crime Act Formula Grant, also known as VA, program rankings and resolution. And item 5, consideration and action to approve the CJAG recommendation for the 25-26 Violence Against Women Formula Grant, also known as WF, program rankings and resolution.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve items 1 through 5? Yes. And a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all. Along with my report, I do want to just highlight two things that we have going on my side of the department. We do have a Narcan training, May 23rd, from 9:30 here at the Ken Jones Executive Board Building. This is in collaboration with Behavioral Health Solutions South Texas, and that is at 9:30. There is a QR code to scan, and participants are encouraged to attend. There is an in-person and virtual option for that, so they will be there. And additionally, the last but not least, for the first time in the history of the RGV, we will be hosting a advanced active shooter incident management training, also known as ASIM. This is the first time in the history of the Lower Rio Grande Valley that we'll be having this type of training. And my, ask to the board is to talk to your emergency managers, your law enforcement, your fire, your school districts to attend. The closest COG that has had this was San Antonio in 2024. So this would be a very good one to attend. The criteria is there. 60 participants is the minimum, but the more the merrier. So for the first time in the RGV, it'll be here at the NAP Conference Center, and I encourage all to attend and to really make this event awesome. August 12th to the 14th. It is a 3-day event. It's free of charge to all those that attend. So this is a 100% worth it. And I'm sure Mr. Solis, when he comes in, he can, from the law enforcement side, speak to it. But yes, August 12th to 14th, 2025, 8 a.m., 5 p.m. at the NAP Medical Conference Center here in Wesco, Texas. Any of your questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item is Police Academy Program. Mr. Javier Solis, Assistant Director.
Good afternoon to all. I'm going to go quickly. I have two action items. My first one, our electronic tasers have met their shelf life. We're in need of purchasing new tasers for less lethal electronic control device training for our cadets. So we ask for your consideration and action to approve the utilization of LRGV Academy GPI funds in the amount of $23,139.27 for the purchase of new electronic tasers.
Can I have an old one?
Can you have an old one?
Jeez.
What did I do to you, Mayor?
I will turn them over to our purchasing division and they could disseminate wherever they want to send them to.
All right, well, we got a second from Mayor Nori. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Our second action item is in reference to a collaboration with the City of Weslaco. The Weslaco Police Department has a current need to fill 10 police officer vacancies within their police force to have a fully staffed police department with their growing city. They need the manpower. And they have approached us wanting to seek out a collaboration in providing a training site as an academy for us so that they could get recruitment and through the process of having their own academy, they could create new officers for their city. So we are asking for your consideration and action to approve an interlocal agreement between the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council and the City of Weslaco, Texas for the implementation of a police academy site to be hosted by and through the Weslaco Police Department, and for the authority to have Mr. Manuel Cruz, LRGVDC Executive Director, sign and finalize the agreement.
All right, is there a motion?
This would be the same type of situation with Edinburgh, just with Weslaco.
Correct, sir. It would be a partnership with the police department.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, Mr. Felipe, we could just go to my last report. I know that Mr. Logan also needs to provide updates, so I'm just going to go to my monthly report.
Very quickly.
Yes, very quickly. Total in-service courses taught for the month, 51. Total officers trained, 537. Total hours instructed, 274, for a total of 3,800 contact hours for the month. Any questions?
All right. Thank you so much.
Have a blessed afternoon.
Thank you. The next item, we're going to go ahead and skip RGV 911. RGV 911 is solid, so there's no issues there. But
Tom has issues.
But Tom, Transportation, Valley Metro, Mr. Tom Logan.
Yes, just real quick, we do have 3 action items. First action item, consideration and action to approve revised LRGVDC Regional Transit Service Department drug and alcohol-free workplace policy in compliance with FTA's drug and alcohol auditing program. The standard revisions to our policy, they were recommended by our Federal Transit Administration review.
Let's go ahead and take them all up if you want.
Okay.
So we can do that.
Consideration and action to approve contract services for the LRGVDC Valley Metro Edinburgh Transit Terminal Office Building, first floor finish out, phase 3. Consideration and action to approve contractual services for the replacement of HVAC system for the new LRGVDC Valley Metro Terminal in Harlingen, Texas.
Okay. Do we have any questions for Tom? No. Okay, can we get a motion to approve items 1 through 3?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
A quick brief on late last week, we got an email from our Region 6 FDA telling us the following. Attaches a letter from U.S. DOT Secretary Sean Duffy providing clarification of legal requirements and provide a reminder of recipients' responsibilities and the consequences of not compliance with federal law in terms of grant agreements. Please review the attached letter and take necessary steps to comply with federal law and satisfy your legal obligations. So that letter is a 4-page letter sent directly from DOT to all transit agencies. Simplified interpretation of the letter and how our transit system protocols can meet the legal requirements, ensuring clarification for transit employees. So key legal points from the letter: compliance with federal law. All recipients of DOT funding must fully adhere to federal law, including non-discrimination law and immigration enforcement law. Equal protection and non-discrimination. U.S. Constitution and various federal law prohibit discrimination based on race, color, national origin, sex, religion in programs funded by DOT. Employment and contracting practices, hiring, promotions, and financial allocation must be merit-based, avoiding prohibited classifications such as race or sex-based preferences. Immigration law enforcement. Recipients must cooperate with U.S. Immigration and Customs or Enforcement, ICE, and other federal agencies in enforcing immigration law. Failure to cooperate or enforce to shield undocumented individuals may result in legal penalties. Accountability and consequences. Non-compliance with federal law may lead to audits, loss of funding, and potential legal consequences. So all in all, we're instructing all of our employees, specifically the drivers, to cooperate with federal officers. If they want to board a bus or enter a facility, they have to let them in. We cannot prohibit it. We cannot block them. The only thing that we are also requesting from our employees is that they notify their supervisor, our dispatch, or myself immediately, so we can be aware of those activities.
You could just share the letter, please.
Will do, yes.
And I know Manny and I have been talking about how it's going to impact ridership potentially.
Correct.
And maybe we can just talk a little bit more on that and then have a more of a discussion for the whole board once we have some ideas, obviously with Tom also.
Yes, obviously no funding impact, but it's basically a strong reminder that we are to adhere to the current administration policies, basically. So we're going to move forward with that. And obviously send out the letter to everybody just so they can have it on hand.
Are we seeing a downturn in ridership?
Right now, no, but there's a lot of questions coming in, specifically from employees. They're very concerned about how to interact, where do they stop. And how, if they're directed to move to a different location outside their route alignment or their destination, how do they proceed? We're telling them to contact us. Don't, yes. But that might come. We don't know yet. But we're following the national industry and transit. And so far, there is indication that the ridership is decreasing because there's a lot of concerns of what could happen if they're out and about by utilizing transit.
Lots of fun stuff today, huh? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, well, we do have it in our packet, the ridership report, and I believe the policy meeting is scheduled here in a few minutes, so I don't know that we have presentation, is that right?
Yeah, the RGVDC is next to me.
It's right next, so
Yes.
we don't have it on our agenda here.
No.
So is there any new or unfinished business?
Just a quick reminder again, for the nominating committee, May 7th at 8:30. So please log on so we can take action on those matters. And next month at the board meeting, obviously, we'll have the new slate of officers, which I believe Mayor Garza is going to take the helm. I'm sorry, under these circumstances with the
I'm like, this is wonderful.
And obviously, all those other items that we have from the various other groups will be, might continue the same or designate or appoint new members to sit on the board. But other than that, thank you so much. I don't have any other news or bad news to report.
All right, well, let's use it, right? We're adjourned.
All right, we got
I know, you know.